All right there, Internet. We are having a day today. How are you doing? Oh, you see my scale peeking in there? It's trying to get in frame. It's too soon, scale. Get out of there. What do we got today? We got the Hummingbird. Now, if you go back and you watch my video on the Mini Falcon, you'll see me say, I don't really care about packaging too much. I'd rather save the money and get a good spinner. But every once in a while, packaging is done right where I really appreciate it and I would happily spend the extra money. And this is a case of that. Look at the packaging on this, y'all. So part of the reason why I like packaging, this particular packaging, is it's just very classy. It has a very handmade quality feel, and it's also not very large. So one thing I was watching, shout out to Average Singaporean Ben, he did a review of the Turbulence by Damn Designs, and they've got these really nice boxes, and they had really nice boxes before. The thing about those boxes for me is, as nice as they are and as much as they add to the presentation, they're large and they take up a lot of space. This is a package that's small enough where I could easily see keeping this spinner in this. I could EDC, like this whole box could go in my pocket, no problem. So I just wanted to take a minute to say I really, really, really dig this box. It's a really smooth wood. It's pretty light. If we pop the spinner out of there, it feels probably like it's a balsa wood, to be honest. It feels maybe a little bit durable than balsa, but it doesn't feel like anything like, not like pine's heavy or anything like that, but it doesn't quite feel like that. It also has under the button this little felt, like little lizard skin, alligator skin in there, which is kind of neat. It's got the Hummingbird logo on here and like a little, I think it's a sticker, but it might be, it actually might be the acrylic sanded down and then like a brushed acrylic here. But it's really nice logo. The whole package is really nice. Now let's look at the spinner for a second. I dig the look of the spinner too quite a bit, y'all. Now I had a post on the Daily Fidget and look how much it looks like a Hummingbird. The whole thing is just total package, y'all. I had a post on the Daily Fidget. Do I get this version or do I get the brass version? Now with something like this, you guys know I like brass. Let's open up the hood while we're talking about this. I really like brass. Really, really, really enjoy me some brass. But I'm starting to enjoy stainless steel a lot. Now with the stone wash finish that they had on here, that stone wash just looks so good. So the brass version goes for $60. The stone wash version goes for $80. And I'm like, do I really want to pay 20 bucks more for something that is going to be lighter and not necessarily something I like quite as much? There's a little bit of, I don't know what that is right there. I'm not sure what that little mark, those two little dots are. Almost looks like rust, but doesn't really kind of seem like that's the case. In any event, but the finish is just so nice. So let's get in here. Let's put the buttons back on because these buttons are nice too. We're going to get into all that. And you know what? I just realized I need to grab something. So let's do this. Let's set this down for a second. We'll just give it a little spin. Just a quick little spin, because we need to grab something. Well, that was rude. Right in the middle of the spin, I got a call. So that was funny that I just happened to get up and get that call. They better not call back. I tell you what, I'll kill them. Don't interrupt my videos. You guys are more important to me than whoever the hell is calling me from Gilbert, Arizona. Well, let's get in and take a look at this guy here real quick. So the finish on this guy, again, just an immaculate finish. Look at that stone wash. It just looks so good. It looks so good, guys. It feels good. It feels kind of like a polish. It doesn't feel like a media blasted or a satin, so good. All right, so let's talk about, let's just bring this guy in as just a little hint. Let's bring this in for size comparison. It's a little bit bigger. It definitely is bigger, but it feels very similar. Now, this is also the tungsten one, so it's a lot heavier. But just the size of the buttons, like these are smaller buttons. There's just so many things about this. This reminds me, probably have to do a shoot out of these two, to be honest. It just really reminds me of that. So let's measure this guy. Let's set you up here. So we're looking at just over 2 inches, so a little bit bigger on the spin than it might seem at first glance. It doesn't seem like it's a 2-inch spinner, but you really kind of almost feels like you're cutting across as opposed to like, you know, this size, which it kind of almost feels more like it's that, yeah, 1.5 inch seems much closer to what it feels like. Whoops. 1.5 inch from those points almost. Let's look at those buttons too. In millimeters, please. Ah, I just zeroed it out. Wrong button. $18 millimeters. Feels smaller, but I think it's the same sort of thing as those ergo buttons on the Talisman or Ultra Spinners buttons, where the area you're grabbing is in the middle here. So you're not really getting the full size of the buttons, you're really grabbing in there. But those steps are super smooth, feel really nice. And I tell you what, Hummingbird is a very apt name for this, for how it spins and how it feels as well. It's very light, it's a bar, so it's very fluttery, it feels very quick, it feels very responsive. So the look of it looks like a Hummingbird. The package is a very classical, natural kind of look. It feels like a Hummingbird. This is just fantastic. I knew I wanted one of these. I knew as soon as I saw it that I would be getting one. I kind of had to try to budget and ration out my spinners a little bit, but this is something I'm really happy with. This is right up my alley. It's very simple, smooth curves. It's got some harder edges in terms of they're not super rounded. I mean, they're definitely rounded, but they're not huge, giant rounded chamfers or rounded curves or anything like that. You know, it's not like a Nautilus type rounding, right? Really great buttons, really great grip, great for a pinch grip, a flat grip. Because they're pretty close to the height of the spinner, doesn't really kind of work quite as well, so you're definitely going to want a pinch grip, but these buttons just ask to be pinched. So fidget wise, I find I really appreciate it since it's asymmetrical. I really like it. I prefer it like this. Having this curve to flick off of works better. So if I turn it this way and I'm trying to flick off of here, it still can flick, but it's a little easier for your finger just to slip and not catch anything, where on this side it's so much easier. Like you really can't miss it this way. But when I'm doing my preloaded flick, I almost can't tell the difference in terms of like the speed and the performance. So for me, preloaded flicks are still great off of this side, but then I can flick it really, really well. I can pull it pretty well. It's really light. Oh, we didn't weigh it yet, did we? Let's weigh this guy. Let's talk about that here real quick. So I don't know what the weight of the brass is. We're looking at 50 grams here, so it's pretty light. It's on the light side, but it feels dense. It feels solid. Nowhere near as dense as something like this, but it just feels nice. But it's got a very similar type feedback too. So when you spin this guy, the feedback and the feeling you get in hand feels very similar to this. They even kind of sound the same. Yeah, this is a little higher pitch, probably because of the material being lighter. But really, really just feels and fidgets nice. So it's even pretty decent with spin time. So guess what we got out of the box on a table spin, guys? Out of the box, table spin. Go ahead and guess. We got 16 seconds. And it didn't actually feel like it was that slow. I went to time and I was like, is this already slowing down? Out of the box, vertical spin, 44 seconds. What? Now hold on, guys. When you get a spin time like that out of the box, especially when it felt smooth, I was kind of like, let's take a look. The buttons were actually on really hard as well, I should say. I did have to use, I used rubber gloves to protect the button. Like I put rubber gloves, not on my hands, but over the button, and then used vice grips because I could not untighten these buttons by hand, just as a heads up. So, but when it felt really smooth. Like I had been spinning it for probably 10 minutes before I bothered to do a spin time and didn't realize there was anything going on with the bearing. But we hit it with a soap and water. We cleaned it out. And we got 3 minutes 11 seconds on a table spin and 4.5 minutes exactly, 4:30 on a vertical spin. Now these are, I'm almost positive these are hybrid ceramics. If they're not hybrid ceramics, I'll put a little disclaimer in the video, but I'm 99% sure these are hybrid ceramics. I shouldn't say 99%. Let's say something like 76.3%. But these are really, really nice. It's a really, really smooth bearing. So much to say about this guy and the way it feels. Like if you've really been waiting for one of these, especially in a material like stainless steel or brass, I'd say just save yourself the time and pick up the Hummingbird. If they made a Hummingbird in tungsten or like tungsten copper, oh, daddy likes. I can't imagine that being anything but an amazing spinner. Fidgets just so well. I pulled out the scale before I got on my little tangent there about how fidgetable this is. It's so light, but but being just solid steel, like it's a little different than like the Stealth Spider we looked at a little while ago, right? Where there's so many cutouts, it feels more like titanium or aluminum, where this feels, it actually feels heavier than stainless steel for whatever reason. And I don't know why that is. Probably because it's bigger than it looks. I just measured it and again defined it over 2 inches at this point, where you really almost feel like you're looking at it more from here, but the spin diameter is pretty wide when you spin it out there. So, you know, you can see the size difference there. I mean, if we try to line up the bottoms, it has a much bigger spin radius, but it doesn't feel that big. It feels light, it feels fast, it feels responsive. So if you like bars, you like fast spinners, you like fidgeting, decent spin times too, all things considered, this is really the way to go. I feel like I hit everything I want to talk about. We're only 7 minutes in. Most of my videos lately have been hitting the 10-minute mark before I feel like I've said everything I wanted to say. But oh, that's because I got interrupted with that phone call, so it's longer than 7 minutes. So we're probably right about where we need to be. So yeah, Hummingbird. I'm gonna put the link down below. I think it's MTE Designs. I probably got that wrong, but I'll post their website. I believe they're on Etsy as well, but I'll just post their website in the comments below for you guys. So Hummingbird, get yourself some. So good. So good. I'm going to enjoy this one quite a bit, I can tell. So let's put it back in this tin just because it's such, or not in this box, because it's such a nice box. Such a nice box. One of my favorites, y'all, for sure. And this is only a first look. If I didn't mention, I've only had it about 24 hours. So just a first look. 24 hours, is that right? Yeah, about 24 hours. So good. Can we get that almost to fill the frame and focus? Probably not focus. But we're going to leave you with that, internet. Kisses.